Good morning, good afternoon. What's up, everybody? Welcome
Hey.
to Packet Live. We're here with the Packet team, and we have a special guest. Josh, you want to make a little intro on who we have here?
Yeah, this is Kent Speakman, and yeah, he is the founder of Connect TV, which is a socially conscious streaming television platform, and also a partner with Packet TV and the Packet Hub. So we're excited to have you on the show today, and excited to talk about all the stuff from media to streaming to all the social impact stuff that you're doing as well, which is really amazing, and also just a great dude I've gotten to get to know over the last few, I guess, months we've known each other.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I'm gonna go and share this with the community. If everybody can retweet, comment, like, just so we can push this out to everyone's followers and really get our community thriving in here, so that we can, spread the love,
Yeah.
Josh, do you want to kind of take over while I do this real quick?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, we've been out here in the trenches building, and yeah, really focusing on the Packet Hub and all the kind of user facing applications and whatnot. And then just welcoming different partners like Kent into the ecosystem, and just making this an ecosystem for discovery. It's such a saturated world out there in the interwebs, and the Packet Hub becomes a really cool ecosystem to be able to discover really innovative, impactful platforms like Connect. Do you want to give kind of your, just quick elevator pitch on what you guys are doing over there, so our fans know what we're talking about?
Perfect. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, we're Connect TV, and so we're on Apple, Roku, Amazon Fire, all the places, and it's www.connect.tv is the URL. And so yeah, we've been doing everything from a lot of fun stuff in the awards space, talking about the path to success with initially some of the bigger shows were the Daytime and Creative Arts Emmys that we did. We just wrapped up a big weekend and had you on for some of the Oscars pre-events, and even covered some of the stuff with Elton John's after party for the AIDS Foundation. And yeah, we've got dozens of talk shows, all socially conscious, focused on improving your lives, mindfulness, wellness. There's even some cooking shows in there if you look in the right spot. So that's kind of what we're all about.
How did you kind of get into that space?
I kind of fell into the live space. You guys met half of you met my tech partner Stuart over the weekend, and I was working on a short form TV series around human trafficking awareness about 12 years ago, through a party at the Sofitel Hotel, and asked a bunch of people to participate, and we live streamed that to a website. Got 1.2 million people watching this stream on a web page about human trafficking awareness, which is kind of it's not the lightest topic to delve into, and that was 10% of what Yahoo.com and the NFL did that same year as far as the audience went. So kind of figured this was a lane to stick into, and started working with more and more nonprofits, and then ended up doing the Make-A-Wish Power of a Wish Gala in 2016 in New York. Won Campaign of the Year for that one. And then the phones just kind of kept ringing for more nonprofits and award shows and fun stuff like that. So
great. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I think that one of the important pieces for where we're headed with Packet Project is getting deeper into, both on the streaming side, which is going to be everything from, CDN to content creation, as well as the community side, and really creating a pathway for people to bring content into the ecosystem. And so, yeah, it was just really nice spending some time with Ken and your partners to begin discussing ways to work together and really making that possible. And for Packet to become more of a kind of catch-all, top of the funnel way for content creators around the world who are making content that are looking for distribution and are looking for, meaningful ways to get their content in front of audiences, can utilize these tools. And right now it's just, and you could probably attest to this within the entertainment space, it's like a Rubik's cube of trying to figure out how to get distribution. You just have to solving these puzzles and who can get me to here to get to there so that this person can maybe put in the good word for me to get this. And it's just very tricky for people to get to where they want to go. And even more importantly, get recoupment on major investments that they've made into the content they're creating. So if we can create more defined rails for content creators to get from the creation side, which is relatively easy, raise money, make content, but from there to the distribution side and having a way to actually get to the revenue transparently, then potentially we're going to see a redistribution of the wealth, and you'll see content creators getting back the investments that they put in so they can continue to make content. So, instead of the one and done situation where it's like you make something, you get your friends and family and raise money from investors, and then no one makes their money back, and that's the last piece of content that you're going to be making.
Also makes Thanksgiving a little awkward when you gotta see all over again. Yeah, I'm actually excited for your tech guy to meet Caleb, because I think that they'll be speaking a language none of us will understand. But it'll be interesting to merge the different technologies together, and see how they play nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a gauntlet of trying to put all those pieces together, and that is the one thing that I found with his name's Stuart Bishop with Katapi is they've got a lot of clients across different verticals and been able to pull a lot of the tech in, where I was previously working with 4 or 5 different vendors just to put together streamed content with ad insertion and everything else, and it's kind of all in one. So it makes it a lot easier that way. So.
Yeah, well, it's far from easy. I mean, I was watching the Oscars ABC on their platform, and the stream kept coming down. So even the biggest and the best, it's it's a wild world out there.
They weren't using StreamYard.
They also probably had a couple more million people tuning in, so you deal with.
True. I mean, even Netflix couldn't handle the amount of people that watched the
Tyson.
Yeah, the Tyson fight.
Oh yeah, the Tyson fight. I mean, I was watching it. It was unwatchable, basically.
Yeah. No,
I missed everything. So
yeah,
I'm still surprised. The only people that have really been able to figure out the live stream is music festivals. They really know how to do it.
I guess competitions. I'm pretty impressed by the surf competitions, how well they're able to stream content. It's probably some of the best in the game. I've never even, it's all, high res. It's pretty impressive.
The only problem is that, they don't have, tens of millions of people watching. So I think once you get up into the million viewers, things start to go a little iffy, especially if they're not connected with a fiber link. Caleb probably knows this best, but if it's not, with a 10 gig fiber line, it's gonna be tough to handle the bandwidth. Probably more too.
The stuff like the Tyson fight, I mean, they must have had their whole CDN deployed on trying to serve that, which would be probably terabytes in total of bandwidth, and it still fell down. What's surprising to me, and I guess they just don't know how many people are going to watch, but if you kind of have an idea that 10 million people are going to tune in, why are you not calling all of the streaming CDN companies and saying, we're going to need you this weekend?
Yeah.
Just bring them all in, and then just round robin everybody across all of the major because everybody seems to mess this up. The best people in the game mess this up. YouTube, I don't remember what it was, but YouTube got crashed because they tried to run something that was too big. And Google, their network is quite impressive.
Yeah, definitely impressive. Yeah, that's what Stuart, which is Kent's partner, was saying. He's like, it was embarrassing because any person who knows you're doing something that big is you just make some phone calls and be ready. It's not like you don't got the money to pay other people to help you.
Yeah, well, I think they were trying to be a hero and show that Netflix can do it all with their integrated CDN solutions that they have. But as we were discussing, when it came down for NFL to stream on Netflix on Christmas Day, they made the call and made sure that went off perfectly. And I watched that football game and it was flawless. So, they and as I heard, it wasn't all the Netflix CDN. In fact, they went and made sure that they were using the best of the best, because you can't mess it. You get one shot at streaming the NFL on Netflix, otherwise they ain't gonna be back next year. So
and that guy probably got fired, so they had a new guy in.
And all those streaming services they're also like, we've been doing it live into the app infrastructure since 2016, and like everybody else, like Amazon just started doing stuff last year. 2024, I believe, was the first time we really started seeing big stuff on Amazon. Maybe at the end of 2023, there was a couple of Netflix did one that I can't remember what it was. It started 45 minutes late, and they had a bunch of issues with their first streaming into the tvOS apps. So it's it's interesting, because we were doing it a long time before anyone else was, and now they're kind of trying to catch up, but going really big with everything they're doing. And you don't get to test your scalability at a global scale like that. And then not have I don't know, mud on your face, or whatever the term is you want to use when it all goes down.
Yeah, well,
I think that they're not planning on. I think they expect that they're going to have this big CDN and everything's going to be flawless. But then they expect that the regular fiber internet connection from the venue is going to be fine to upload the traffic to the big CDN that's going to spread it out. But if there's somebody out there that doesn't like you and they do a denial of service attack against the uplink, then it doesn't matter how big the CDN is. The data isn't getting to the CDN. So if I were in this, I think that I would probably spend the extra money to push it to a satellite and then bring it down from a satellite in multiple locations and have them pushing it to the CDN, just because I don't want somebody going, oh, I know the IP address of the venue, I'm gonna mess with them.
Yeah, we use bonded encoding for all of our bigger shows. So we'll do on the big ones, we'll have Starlink with the satellite, or just a regular satellite, and then bond it out over all the different cellular providers plus the ISPs, and then that gets rebuilt on the cloud, and then the packets get redispersed and sent out to all of the deployment protocols from there. So that's how we've been doing it for the past 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it's a good idea. You don't want to have this one link and they can make you look like an idiot just by flooding out that one link.
Yeah. Well, when we ran the network for the Mammoth Film Festival using Starlink, that was a great experience. And there was actually a whiteout that happened during the show, and nobody else, the whole entire town went without internet and cell phone service, and the only survivor was the Mammoth Film Festival, and they live streamed it. So we were the heroes of that event for sure. And you can only really pay tribute to Mr. Musk for that one.
No, that stuff's impressive. That technology is out of this world.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
They actually just they just made it so that with T-Mobile, all your text messages go through Starlink now. So I just got approved for that beta.
I think you have to be outside for that though. It's not. I don't think it goes through your home, but maybe it does.
I don't know. I think
Because
so.
Yeah,
I have.
who cares? If you're at home, you just use the regular cell tower.
Well,
if you're out in
if
the woods, go outside.
yeah, like I live up in the mountains, and we lose power here every time it rains, which is a lot. So you have to. I tried to use my phone. It has the satellite thing where you can send text messages, but it wouldn't pick it up in the house. So I had to go stand outside and send a text message, and you have to like track the satellite and find it, and you lock on, and then boom, you can send messages.
Did you get into the Starlink beta, Jer?
I haven't installed the Starlink up here yet.
No, the Starlink beta service that they're doing.
Are you on T-Mobile?
I'm not on
Oh,
T-Mobile. No,
okay, yeah.
no, I'm on. I switched to AT&T because T-Mobile in this area is the worst cell phone service ever.
Right.
It just doesn't work. So
Yeah, I think they're
in
making it
order to-
available everywhere for the first couple months, and then they're going to pull it back to try to bring people back to T-Mobile or to T-Mobile.
Interesting.
Mm.
Yeah,
I mean, it's smart. T-Mobile sucks.
Well, they need to solve that. They need to solve that problem. So, the next phase, and I was saying this to Josh yesterday, and maybe Jeremy. The next phase for Pocket is definitely getting into moving real data. That's going to be the next key. And up to this point, we've really been focused on building this decentralized network, and there's CJDNS nodes in I think 35 or 36 countries around the world, and there's this whole interconnected network, which is lovely, and seeing people operate these nodes. But when it comes to actually there being low latency and big data moving through, particular when you're talking about streaming a video, it's really going to come down to CDN networks at the end of the day, and that's going to be where the true resilience of this network is going to be tested. We don't have, in particular, CDNs running across the CJDNS network at this juncture. And so what I was saying is surprising. We've never really reached out and connected with the CDN projects in the crypto space. And there's quite a few of them. I mean, the most notable being Theta, and there's several others that have a great story and have been brewing in the background. And then, of course, you have the usual suspects, the more renowned CDNs that have nothing to do with the crypto space. But it will be important for us to start building some bridges with those other projects. And I think there could be some great partnerships there as Packet TV comes onto the scene and gets its marketing wheels going. And people start to discover it. I think there will be some incredible inroads with these CDN companies. Some of them are just going to be pay to play. They don't really care. They'll work with whoever's paying the bill. And it will obviously be fundamental for this streaming service to have the quality of service required to compete, have the quick load times and the perfect feeds for tens of thousands of hours worth of footage and content coming across those streams. So that'll be certainly one of the next parts of this project in particular, and making that happen. And as one of the cool things in talking with Ken, you and Stuart the other night, and your guys' expertise in that particular arena, what will be required to actually execute and rub shoulders with the competitors who are doing a dang good job on that.
Well, I did reach out to Theta, so this is me calling Theta out publicly now that they're supporting.
You didn't hear anything back?
No, I've reached out to them twice. I actually have 2 contacts to Theta, so I'm talking to you, Theta. What's up?
Yeah, look, and it's not like we need Theta. I mean, Theta's a very small fish in a very, very big pond. There's a lot of major people who will return your phone call. But yeah, you would think that within the crypto ecosystem that you would find some people wanting to build bridges. And I think once it gets a little bit more clear what we're doing with Packet TV and what the value proposition is, and arguably maybe one of the most consumer-facing applitions for crypto and networking in the world, you would think that we would start to get some interest from these major projects.
Josh, did you reach out to Theta through the Packet Twitter?
I think we have in the past, but I'm not sure. But I actually went onto their website and hit up their support team and went directly through it. But I also have a contact that I met somebody from Theta, and yeah, they've been unresponsive in their Telegram. So, anyways, we'll keep making some noise. I mean, look, this thing's just coming live now, and as we go on our crusade to get partnerships with different platforms and start really building out the population of the Packet Hub and making some noise, I think we're gonna be pretty impactful, especially as we start onboarding these creators. I've been having some great conversations with creators, having them bring their platforms on there, and then ideally, as we build out the Creator Hub and letting that start creating the templates for people to start uploading their content and syndicating their content within the Creator Hub, that's going to get really exciting. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to making that noise and having that resource available for creators. Right now, any creator can upload their content onto the Creator Hub and be able to syndicate it and use that as a flywheel for marketing. And so yeah, I just had a call yesterday with a production company that has a bunch of content and a library, and we're just starting to. This industry moves slowly because everyone's like, oh no, this is how we've been doing it for 50 years. And it's like, well, the whole entire world has changed over the last 50 years. And this is kind of the future of how things need to work. And so there becomes this kind of like MS-DOS reboot of people's brains when you start talking about the future.
Are you speaking in regards to media distribution, or what part?
I'm talking about creators, generally speaking. Everyone has kind of like, this is the way we've been doing it, and this is the way we've been, not successful, but it's the only way we know. And so being able to kind of expand the horizons of what the future of media distribution looks like, and how you can market your content and how you can be impactful and make noise. And so giving creators the tools to be successful at that is really what the Creator Hub and Packet Hub aim to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of skepticism will always be, and we've said this before, that when people create content, by the time it's ready for distribution, there's just a general fatigue. And so they really want somebody else to do everything for making the project available, for marketing the project. They really just want to hand it off to someone, and they want to get paid. That's pretty much where they are. It's like, hey, I made this, someone buy this from me, and then you give me money, as much money as I need, or as much money as you're willing to give me. And then you go and generate the revenue from the public. You go do the marketing and then pay me additional money off of what become the net profits on the success of your marketing efforts and the success of my project. And there are examples where a project can go on and be successful. They can get that, everyone has that dream. Content creators, when it comes to film, for example, or TV, they have that dream that they're the big, exciting indie project that's the darling that everyone's talking about, or the blockbuster that everyone's going to. Anora is obviously just a very narrow example of a successful indie, right? But in terms of indies being successful, it's 1 in a million. It's an example of just that one project. And interestingly, Sean Baker also did a film called The Florida Project, which was with William Dafoe, which is an incredible film, indie film. It got a little award buzz. I remember getting the screeners for it years and years ago. And it's just an example of someone who's come back to the well numerous times, who's built a name for themselves in the indie space and keeps, taking shots, because as it comes to making content, having your first film be award winning is obviously a rarity. And in terms of having your second film or third film or whatever winning, 5 Oscars out of 6 nominations is obviously a remarkable feat. But it's just it's an anomaly, right? You're talking about a black swan situation for something like that to happen, and no one else is going to have that happen. You could pretty much just like bet on it. You can dream of hitting the lottery like Sean did, right? And it's obviously not just random. He created some incredible content, but it's just a rarity for people to achieve that. So you can't go out expecting those types of results. And
Fortunately, everyone does, though.
and that's exactly the point. And the reality is that people are expecting that. But the problem is that there really is such a limited amount of space for new projects to gain awareness, because in particular, if you don't have, and this is even what makes Anora even more remarkable, is that there's really no notable actors in it, right? It just doesn't have any star power in it. And so the fact that it was able to gain so much notoriety is a testament to the quality of the filmmaking, also a testament to the quality of the marketing campaign and the distributors that he was able to bring behind it, and all those things coming to bear, and happening in some symbiosis for that level of success to be achieved. And so hats off to that whole team, extended team, the Neon team as well. And then you have everyone else who has their challenges trying to get even regular distribution, and projects that even get regular distribution and just are stuck never getting their money back, right? Never even getting a royalty statement. I mean, sometimes getting even a royalty statement from these distributors is a pain. And there's a tremendous amount of dysfunction in the distribution system, tremendous amount of dysfunction in the guild system. It just through and through. Funny story yesterday, I got an email from the Writers Guild complaining that they haven't received royalties. This is unbelievable, because they haven't received royalties on a film that's distributed by Universal. But the way that the deal works is that Universal generates the revenue, but they put up a minimum guarantee on the film. So they're not going to pay out anything until they recoup their minimum guarantee. And even though they have distribution rights, I think in 12 or 13 territories, they've only distributed in 2 or 3 of them. So that MG that they paid is basically never going to be recouped. And so while it's in distribution, the guilds want to get paid residuals. They want to get paid royalties for the money that it's generating on distribution. But me as the rights holder is never going to get any money. And the money that we got 10 years ago for this film went back to the investors. So there will be a situation where me as the rights holder is literally going to be on the hook for paying money on revenue that's generated that I didn't ever receive. And we're all of a sudden, like, I'm now just paying residuals to actors and writers and directors on revenue that I'm not even generating. I mean, this is how broken the industry is, and without this like transparency situation where the revenue is being funneled through a smart contract, where it's being automatically distributed to the guilds if they're entitled to receive payment, is fundamental. Because especially when you scale that across, hundreds of thousands or millions of titles, that actually hurts filmmakers, like hurts content creators. Like, I don't want to get a message from the WGA telling them I owe them money 10 years after I distribute a film that I don't even have the rights to, that I'm not receiving any money to. Like, that's not even realistic for that to be a problem that can arise. And those are the problems that you end up with as a content creator, that no content creator is even thinking about, that type of harassment, and then the penalties, and it could be tarnishing your production company name that you used as a signatory. It's just like, it's a disastrous business model. And so this is more acutely required than people let on to believe, because those stories, like the one I just told, are not well documented, and they happen behind the scenes and hurt people behind the scenes, and don't get the kind of awareness and publicity. So while we're running around, Josh, and saying, hey, this is like the future, we need to build this, it's important, and people are like, yeah, I'm just trying to like make my film and sell it to Neon Films, or I'm just trying to sell it to Universal, and we don't really need your platform. Well, you sold your film to Universal, and now the guild's hitting you up for money that you don't have. So how does that feel? And it's just weird that people are so close-minded to it, like you said, where they're so stuck in their thought process of how it should be, but don't realize how actually fundamentally broken it actually is.
Right. Yeah, and it just takes education, you know. And it's funny because I remember when Netflix first started, and everyone was like, you know, if you want to go have fun on that little stupid platform where content goes to die, like, great, go for it. And you know, they even wrote this specific contract for actors for SAG, the SAG new media contract, that said, hey, you can go and play on this YouTube thing and this new media stuff that nobody cares about. And then that became just like the status quo. And we're seeing that with like fast channels, where everyone's like, fast is where content goes to die. They need all this, like, you know, thousands of hours of programming. So your shit content can go onto fast channels. And now you're seeing, you know, Pluto TV and Tubi doing $1 billion a year with that. And everyone's like, oh, well, if you're doing $1 billion, like maybe I can get a couple bucks out of that, you know? And so you watch everything kind of start moving in a certain direction, and people, you know, start following the money. So wherever the money goes, then, you know, and the people who are early make the most of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring this picture up, just switching over to like the music side of things. I mean, this is how much people make on the different streaming channels. It's like YouTube. I mean, that number is what, 7/1000th of a penny? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, Xbox, I'm actually really surprised that Xbox Music pays out almost 3 cents. I mean, that's unbelievable. But how do you get your music up on Xbox? It's just like,
you should give it a shot.
I should figure it out. But yeah, I actually saw a meme, or not meme, but like an image on Twitter pop up about streaming, and I was like blown away at these numbers that, you know, on Spotify, you don't even get you got just right under $4,000 for 1 million. Or is it, that's less, it's like $1,500 for 1 million streams. And if you're, you know, getting 1 million streams on Spotify is not easy, especially if you don't have, you know, money to do the marketing, or like a lot of money. I mean, I've promoted music a lot, and for like $500, and I'm not quite sure what it is today, but I know maybe like before the pandemic, for $500 you could get about 100,000 streams. And that's strictly through like independent playlists, because that's the only way to get streams on Spotify. Well, there's two ways. You can do it through Release Radar, which is like their AI curated music distribution. So like if you follow an artist and they release a song, each person who has Spotify, they have a channel called Release Radar, technically a fast channel for like, it's like a mix that they put together of all new music. And so your song will go into whoever follows you Release Radar. And that's really how you get your initial followers to hear your songs. But to go beyond that, the only way to get exposure is through the playlists. And Spotify has, you know, a bunch of curated playlists that they gatekeep, and the people who get in there are the ones who have the most money usually. I mean, they like to say that it's, you know, through you know, what their taste is and like what they think is, you know, a good song. But it's all, if you go into like the rap or, you know, Rap Caviar, on Spotify, it's the same guys that you hear on the radio. It's like whatever's the hot stuff.
Right.
And so the only way to really get discovered is through the independent playlist that people have curated over the last, 10, 12 years. And they have, a massive following. And then getting your songs distributed on YouTube. I remember I had a song that did really, really well, and it got put onto a YouTube channel. But when I signed the song to the record label, they took YouTube. They kept 100% of the YouTube royalties. And then the song, went on to generate, 15 million streams. But as the content the person who, produced the music with all my other co-producers and writers and singers, none of us got to see any money from that song off of YouTube. It did pretty good on Spotify, but half of its, stream revenue was from YouTube, and we didn't see any money from it. So there's got to be another way, and it's not saying that people need to stop distributing their music through these platforms. I mean, you should distribute to every platform possible, but there should also be a platform where you get 100% of the revenue that is generated from people listening to it. And I think that when creators realize that, hey, they can actually get 100% revenue from distributing it through this platform, I mean, it's a no-brainer to put your stuff up there.
Yeah, it's actually, well, the problem is that we were talking to one of our advisors who works with a project called Tune FM. Tune FM is actually up on the Packet Hub, and Tune FM non-exclusive. They pay out, I believe he said, so if Spotify, say it again.
It's a penny a stream.
Is that right? So a penny a stream.
Yeah.
So it's in line with like Tidal and Apple. Apple Music's just under a penny. But yeah, so they pay a penny a stream, and they've really struggled to get artists. They're offering basically almost three times what, 2.5 times what Spotify offers. And artists are like, no, they're not uploading their libraries there. And they're like, you realize it's non-exclusive. But the problem is, it's back to what Josh was saying. The problem is that people have this conception of what it's supposed to be, what success looks like. And it's very hard for them to get out of their mind of trying something else in terms of achieving success. And so they're like, well, for me to be successful, I need to make all my money on Spotify because that's where everyone else is making their money. Or they're thinking, well, look, that's where everyone is. So if I don't put my stuff there, then nobody's going to hear it over on this other platform. Whereas it should just be an ancillary solution where you go, hey, I'm putting my stuff up on Spotify. That's great. I know I'm just getting, fractions of a penny, but over here I get a penny. So I'm going to promote both because I make 3 times as much money on this platform. I just don't think that mentality is out there. And like I said, I think a lot of people, once they finish making their product, whether it be music, a TV show, movie, whatever, they just want it to be out there and they don't really want to deal with it. I think if it was more customary, more of what was I gonna say, like more common for people to distribute these ways, then you would just go into it thinking, well, let me just go monetize in every single channel that I can make money off of. And we're going to get bigger checks from this platform, bigger checks from that, small checks from this one. But this one's maybe just a place where we really get a lot of audience awareness. And I think you have to work all the channels. I'm surprised that people don't. And I know that from a filmmaking standpoint, that closed-minded attitude about just wanting to get distributed by a major is actually really foolish, because a lot of your money could come from the foreign market. The foreign market, selling to smaller territories like Poland and Turkey and South Korea and Australia and New Zealand. It's like, these aren't huge territories, but if you can go out and pick up 25 grand, 50 grand, 75 grand, 150 grand from each one of those, and you can go sell into 40 different territories, you could pick up a few $1 million in small change. Whereas cool, you sold to Universal, but now they're only distributing in the US, or they're only just putting it out under a VOD channel where you're in a soup of hundreds of thousands of other titles, and you're not going to get very much revenue from that, even if you're with one of the majors.
If ever.
It's just a very closed-minded mentality.
If you're ever going to get any revenue from them, because
well, you might generate the revenue, but you'll never get the royalty.
You'll never get a royalty. Well, here's the thing: like with music, if you release, do a self-release, it's funny. I've released with record labels, and my songs did worse than if I had just self-released it and did like no marketing. So it's like, yeah, you release with the label for the prestige, but the label actually takes 50% of the royalties and does jack all. So now I don't release with any record labels. I just do it all myself and I keep the revenue myself. But distribution, self-distribution channels, there's a bunch of them. There's like TuneCore and DistroKid and Too Lost, who I distribute with, Too Lost. And they will give you 100% of the revenue. And you pay like $10 a year for the release.
Wow.
But what I was going to say is what they do is when you distribute it, it will distribute to every single music platform that's available at that time. So it's like 300 distribution channels. And so I was just thinking it would be really cool to reach out to these music distributors and say, hey, how do we become one of your music distributor platforms so that creators can automatically be distributed to our platform. Tune FM should reach out to every single music platform and be automatically distributed. So it's like people don't even have to think about it. They're just getting a royalty check. It's automatically getting uploaded. And I bet you there's I don't know if this, I don't know. Maybe there's some film distribution channels out there that automatically distribute your film to, all the different platforms. Or at least like pitches them for you.
Yeah, there's a new one called Film Hub that's doing that.
Yeah, we've been talking with Film Hub on some other projects, and they're great model.
That's a perfect place for them to add like, okay, well, when somebody pays to be distributed through Film Hub or whatever, it automatically goes to the Packet Hub also so that people can get revenue. The whole thing is you want to get your content in every channel possible, wherever people are, Totally. And I don't listen to like music on Rhapsody or Deezer or any of that stuff. I listen to it on Spotify and SoundCloud and YouTube. So it's like,
you got to go where that's the problem is they want to go where the ears and eyeballs.
You should go pick up every year.
You can go there. You can still go there. I'm not saying, no one's saying like, don't go there. We're saying go there and here and there and go everywhere, like get it out everywhere, but also put your content up where you're going to get, the most revenue possible.
Right.
And then then you're going to promote that.
Yeah. Ken, how's it been curating your channel and working with, creators and in that space?
Yeah, it's so we do we've got a couple different ways that we do monetization with our partners. And so we've got like a 50-50 rev split on the fast channel content, so any ad supported stuff. And then we do a couple other things that I don't really know anybody else that is does is we'll do independent promotional codes for different content creators. So if you had your show, it came to Connect, we would give you a code that would promote subscribing to everything on Connect. And then we give you a bonus back on those new subscribers that come in across the network. And then we have some metrics set for like on top, like that third thing would be then overall views that come in from those new generated audiences to give some bonuses and things like that. So we're trying to be innovative and fair with everybody that way. And then it's because we are smaller and independent and niche. So it's some of the stuff has an audience that comes with it, and others it kind of needs to be built. So we'll kind of do our things to do our best practices to help promote that with all the new releases, and then hope everybody's kind of rowing the boat in the same direction. And that's it's been interesting because we've had some projects that we expect should just you would expect everything on paper. It should look great, and everybody's gonna want to watch this, and it's the viewership's been less than expected. And then some of the other stuff that I wouldn't expect no one would watch, but would be less attractive, have had higher view numbers than the other ones that you don't expect. So it can be interesting at times, because most of it makes sense. We've kind of got I know most of the stuff that should work and usually does, and then there's the outliers on either side that can be a bit of a surprise from time to time. So
yeah, that's the interesting thing about this space is, and this whole concept of like quote unquote premium content is, you have this stuff where you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. It's got all the people, it's got all the things, and on paper it's perfect. And then you have this stuff that's like some UGC bullshit that you're like, nobody's ever gonna watch this crap. And then that like just blows up, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's so brilliant. And you're just like, slapping your forehead. And so I think they're, especially in this like fast channel space where there's so much content can be produced and used. I think there's something interesting about creating the ability for a catch-all channel or something where it's like this can be curated with stuff that I wouldn't even call premium content, but there's a threshold, right? If it's just some absolute trash, but like if I think there is a it's hard to say that like one person knows what all people want and where that true audience comes from, and I think that's the biggest challenge with these studio execs is you got this person who's green lighting everything, and they don't necessarily have their finger on the pulse of like what the people actually want.
Well, there's so many different categories of what people are interested in. And I think I've always said this, but a mass market is comprised of a lot of niche markets. And we've seen this actually on the influencer side, where micro influencers are incredibly powerful, now being treated with the respect, because you might only have 5,000 or 10,000 people in your little micro community, but maybe it's very niche focused, and maybe those are the most engaged 10,000 people. Whereas you talk to someone who has 1 million followers, and they may not even get the same type of engagement that someone with 10,000 followers is getting, right? And that person with 1 million followers probably has a lot of them from Bangladesh. It's just like a lot of BS that's in these social communities that is either fake followers or just, you have a lot of people, but they're from all over the world. So how can you get real hyper targeted calls to action and people to, for example, if you're trying to get someone to buy a product and someone's market is in, these obscure parts of the world, then how are you shipping to those areas? And so micro communities that may be domiciled in very specific parts of the country, of the US, for example, or internationally, can be extremely valuable. And it's the same thing with content, where a specific type of content, there could be a celebrity involved with it who has their own micro community. And even though, they're not the big name that you would get a draw for on the top carousel on Netflix per se, but their community's engaged and tuning in every single week or every single day into their content. So, why not? I've been following, there's a couple things in the, we've been exploring the gaming and casino communities, and there's a category on the Packet Hub for gaming and casino. And some of these, especially on like the sports gambling side of things, have some podcasts that go out every single day, and they're doing multi-hour live streams that are getting 300, 500, 1,000 people sitting there listening to content for 2-3 hours. I mean, that's insanely valuable. Those are real people tuning in real time, watching like they're watching TV, but they're there right then. It's not, they're getting real life information in real time. And even though that's a small network, relatively speaking, it's incredibly powerful to have 400 people tuned in listening to every single word that's being said in real time. So for an advertising opportunity, those are valuable streams, and there's no reason why those aren't being, heavily exploited and treated with a certain level of respect. Whereas you get on the fast channels of CBS Sports, or, obviously that's where a lot of people, the eyeballs are going in the hundreds of thousands to the millions, but the advertising there is going to be incredibly expensive. So it's like, you just have to look at the balance between the different types of content. Really valuing niche communities can be incredibly valuable and lucrative as well.
Yeah, when you look at like the guys who are doing the Twitch streams and like gaming or other interactive things, not talking about the other industry, but like stuff where everybody's fully clothed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are making a pretty good living at doing that, and can do it from a simple setup with a microphone and some lights, and they're talking to people. And I've got one of the guys that we've done a bunch of stuff with. He's been big on Twitch, and he's communities on a couple different platforms, but he's sitting there and he'll be, doing an hour, 2 hour thing, and it's daily at the same time every day. Right. He goes in and it's like, all right, guys, I feel like some pizza today. And so the next thing you know, through another third-party app, somebody's sending food to his house, and he's got all of these other elements that are coming into the play of things. And I know we all don't want to be creating content for a free pizza, but it's interesting going into like these micro niche spaces. And this is a guy that's had major running network shows that he does rewatch parties and things like that. And I don't want to call him out. I'll maybe introduce you guys to him afterwards, because he's got a ton of premium content that could be a good another partner for you. But it's just interesting to see how people are evolving and doing things very differently than you'd expect to in this sort of digital landscape. So
totally. And that's the vision behind the Packet Hub. The Packet Hub is meant to be a community curated environment ecosystem where anybody can promote their content and distributes direct to audience. So for example, somebody who finishes, it could be anyone from someone who finishes a film to someone who's a live, Twitch gaming streamer and wants to just get some visibility. They can utilize those tiles to create a website in Packet Network and have people going to wherever they want them to go and viewing whatever you want them to view. And as more people start to use the Packet Hub as a place where they can garner and direct users, I think we're going to see some incredible things start to emerge through that ecosystem. Obviously, very few, if any, people know about it at this point, just launched. But as this thing starts getting more awareness, I believe people are going to start using it as a tool for their own use case. And I think we're going to see some innovative use cases as well. So right now, it is hard to make a website unless you're going to go onto a Squarespace or a Wix. But if you go onto Squarespace or a Wix, you're now paying for that website every month for the rest of your life. And right at the point where you're like, I don't want to pay $20 a month for this anymore. Like, this is annoying. I don't need this site enough to be paying $250 a year forever. Then you shut it off, right? And Wix doesn't care. They have their churn rate, and they have a bunch of wedding sites up there. People just need a wedding site. They just need a site for this, that, or the other thing. I have one friend, she runs her business on Wix and is really frustrated with it because she is embedded now. And she's just like, how do I get out of here? I built it here because it was easy, but now I'm stuck here paying crazy money every single month. And it's not a great experience. And same thing with my father. He's just retiring. He's got a business website and that he pays for. And he's like, I'm retiring, but I don't want to take my site down. Should I just move it over to Packet and just have a site? I can just have it there and it's there forever and I don't have to pay anymore. He's like, I don't want to lose it, but I don't want to still maintain it. And I think we'll see people coming in with some really innovative use cases for websites. And it gets me excited, really gets me excited for these use cases. So we want to see the Creator Hub grow both as a front end discovery place, but also just a place where people can domicile content and run whatever they want off of that. And it could be an e-commerce site. It could be a blog. It could be a direct to audience distribution environment. and we want to continue to provide Rails. So one of the things that Josh has been working on is to get some templates, some free templates out there so that people can just easily come in, grab a template. It's obviously free to put content up on Packet other than just what it costs for you to stake and acquire your URL. But once you do that, you can just host it on a, I've got a couple servers for $2, or for what is that? I got a couple servers that I have running for like $10 a year. So you can just put something on there and bang, you got a website for life for $10 a year.
You
Where
paid with
what
crypto.
cost hosting, and it paid in crypto. I actually paid, I paid with Packet basically. Turned
Yeah.
Packet into ETH and paid for a server for a year, and bang,
From
So
that you were
that I earned, and in the Packet I actually earned it from staking. So it's just use some of your staking revenue to pay for your server. I mean, this is the future, guys, and it's just key that we get that word out there. People start coming and be like, oh, I can have a website and a URL for free for life and build things here, and I can distribute direct to audience and keep 100% of the revenue, and it's globally accessible. It's like, what are we doing here? Why are we paying GoDaddy and these server companies to do all this when we don't actually need to pay those fees? It's just because people are stuck in their ways. It's a familiarity. It's who's doing the branding, who's running a Super Bowl commercial, right? So it's just what people do. But as word gets out there, I think we'll see some adoption. That should be very exciting for Packet.
Yeah, well, I do a workshop every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if anybody's got any questions or need any help or wants to figure out how to set up a domain, please join. It's totally free, and just offering my time and effort to just onboard as many people as possible. And we're actually building a really cool site. I was just proving the screens last night for which is basically like our own name cheap for Packet, where you can just really easily set up a domain and you can either pay for it through us or just being able to connect your wallet and have it do with a single click. So yeah, we're currently working on building that and getting that thing live for everybody.
Just making it easy for people to get their domains in a familiar way, even paying with a credit card if you don't want to do the Packet transaction. So yeah, that's coming soon. And yeah, there's a bunch of things coming soon. Actually, we're also working on a Plinko game, which should be really cool too, where you will actually be able to play with PKT and getting our first game within the Packet ecosystem. So between Packet TV, between the registrar situation, a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, and Packet TV is going to be a big one. So we're excited to share that with the community as it starts to unload, and some huge names, some big notable creators and celebrity type individuals coming in to be a part of this project. So that should be something that really puts some notability and some notoriety around Packet TV as we start to make those announcements.
Yeah. As we close up, Kent, is there any kind of final words of wisdom or places you want to tell the good people of Packet to go?
Yeah, I'm just excited that we're kicking off some fun stuff, and there's lots more announcements to come. So we won't don't know when and where those things will be made, but I'm excited to be a part of things with you guys, and thanks for having me on today. So
yeah, totally. Yeah, and everyone go the links right there on the screen. So go check out the platform, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Don't forget to toss a like and follow over to Connect TV, and of course Packet if you guys haven't already. So we do this live stream every week, Wednesday 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we appreciate all you showing up today, and yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one next week, same time, same place.
Yeah, make sure you retweet this and spread the word so more people find out.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, gents, for your time, and we'll catch up on the next one.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
Cheers.